This is Art Television.
My homage to the gem of the Supreme Buddha. The Buddha is my refuge every day. May my homage to the gem of the Supreme Dhamma. The Dhamma is my refuge every day. May my homage to the gem of the Supreme Sangha. The Sangha is my refuge every day. May my homage to the Supreme Triple Gem. The Triple Gem is my refuge every day. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gachantu Devata. Saddhammang munirajas sunantu saggamokkhadan Dhammasavana kalo ayang bhadanta Dhammasavana kalo ayang bhadanta Dhammasavana kalo ayang bhadanta. May all divine beings arrive here to listen to sublime Dhamma expounded by the fully enlightened one. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Honor to the Supreme Buddha, the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened one. Meritorious devotees, Dhamma friends, you all are going to listen to sublime Dhamma expounded by the fully enlightened one. The reality of the world is revealed to the world by the fully enlightened one. Especially people are ignorant of the reality. Therefore, they are doing various activities in order to gratify their senses, satisfy their senses. They are governed by, they are guided by the senses. They want to satisfy their sensory pleasures without the knowledge of what is going to happen in the life after death. Therefore, they tend to think what should be done is to gratify the senses as much as possible within this life, by hook or by crook. Therefore, they deal with all material aspects without especially paying attention on spiritual aspect. They do not want to accumulate merits, which is the major power for us to be born in a pleasurable flame in the next birth, and which gives us the opportunity to comprehend the Four Noble Truths within a shorter period of time. But people neglect merits. They look down upon merits. They criticize the people, followers who are doing merits. They don't accept merits. They reject merits. So that is the situation in the modern world. They accept material gains as much as possible. They do not want to improve the qualities as human beings. They do not want to rectify their bad behaviors. Always they look down upon us. They look down upon others. They criticize others. They have no inward criticism. They have outward criticism. They always look at others, how they behave, what are their faults, and all that. But within them, there are, unimaginable faults like jealousy, malice, retaliation, so on and so forth. Therefore, finally, the end is they have to suffer in the next birth. And in the samsara, again and again, being born in various innumerable births, in the hell, in the animal plane, in the ghost plane, in the asura world, and all that. Very rarely they got the opportunity to be born as human beings, or devas, or brahmas. This time, fortunately, you are born in a pleasurable plane. Mixed benefits you get. Sometimes you get good benefits, sometimes you get bad benefits. However, mixed benefits. But when you have to be born in a plane like hell, always suffering. Plus, in the Preta world too is the same. And in Asura world too, the same. So fortunately, you have got an opportunity to be born as a human being this time. And also, the period is, the era is golden. Why? A supreme Buddha called Gautama has appeared in the world. Even though Supreme Buddha passed away 2565 years ago, the Dhamma is available. Still the Dhamma is there. Therefore, if one wants to study Dhamma, listen to Dhamma, and remember Dhamma, and practice Dhamma, one can gain results within this life. Therefore, Dhamma is SANDITTIKO. You can gain results within this life. Dhamma is akaliko, timeless. Dhamma is ehipassiko. We can show the authenticity of the Dhamma to anybody. Come and see. Dhamma is openaiko. That means by applying to ourselves, we can see the truthfulness of the Dhamma. So, Pacchattam vedi tabbo vinyuhi, the wise man understands this Dhamma, himself or herself. Therefore, meritorious devotees, Dhamma friends, this period, this era is a magnificent and golden era, because you are born in a human plane and the Buddha Sasana, the dispensation is available. Therefore, we have to make use of this opportunity as much as possible in order to, free ourselves from this dangerous samsaric life. While we are spending in this human world, enjoying with entertainment and gratifying the senses, we don't understand this reality. We are just going forward to the death, while we are facing various problems, we don't remember the reality. That is the unfortunate situation in the human world. Because our mental capacity is not up to the standard to understand the reality of the world. But we have a capacity to know about science. We have a capacity to know about mathematics. We have the capacity to know about other various, astrology, astronomy, and especially, technology, and a lot of higher things. Those are, material knowledges, but we don't have spiritual knowledge. That is only known by the Supreme Buddha, who developed the mind up to the highest level. The Supreme Buddha gained what is called omniscience, sabbhanyuta jnana. To sabbhanyuta jnana of the Supreme Buddha, the Buddha understood the reality of the world, which starts with birth and ends with death. But there is no end to the sansaric life. Once again we are reborn. That is the problem. If within this life, if our life is over, no problem. But after death, there is another birth, a rebirth. According to the merits and demerits that we have accumulated within this life, the journey will be decided upon. Therefore, meritorious devotees, Dhamma friends, we have to especially pay attention on our lifestyle, what is called how we live in this world without, doing bad things, evil acts, unwholesome acts. In order to lead us that kind of life, we must know the Dhamma. The Dhamma is the guideline for us. So Dhamma is the Supreme Buddha's teachings. We have to have a teacher, noble teacher. The noblest teacher ever encountered by us in the samsara is the Supreme Buddha. Fortunately, we have encountered the Supreme Buddha this time. Even though the Supreme Buddha is no more, but the Dhamma is available. So Dhammam passati, so mam passati. Yo Dhammam passati, so mam passati. If one sees the Dhamma, he sees me, the Supreme Buddha said once. Therefore, even today, as long as the Tripitaka, the canonical texts, the sutras specifically, 18,000 discourses are available. Therefore, we can still see the Supreme Buddha through these discourses. Unfortunately, people do not read the discourses. They depend upon others' explanations, interpretations. Therefore, sometimes they are misguided by some bhikkhus, some lay people. Therefore, don't depend upon others' interpretations. Even my interpretation. What you have to, do is to read the discourses. Even in Sinhala or in Pali or in English, there are translations, Sinhala and English translations, good translations. So if you know Pali, that is very good. Some Westerners and foreigners, in order to study Dhamma, they study Pali language. We people do not want to do so. We study any other languages in order to watch films, to have the kind of, sensual pleasures. Therefore, we want spiritual development. Now, there are 4 characteristics that we can see, discern in the world. Jati, that is birth. Jara, decay. Vyadi, sickness. Marana, death. Out of these 4, some curious one is death. And what is going to happen after death? Now, birth we can see. We can see various babies and sometimes little puppies, even what is called animal plane. We can see there are animals, little animals, baby animals. We can see. And we can see babies in human world. They are born. So birth can be seen, discernible. And sometimes eggs and all that we see. And sickness also we see, we discern it. There are sick people, we have to get treatment for our illnesses. That is also something very day-to-day life thing. And other one is Jara. Jara is also very, always we can see, because there are old people and we are getting old. So that is also something useful, something we can see in day-to-day life. Marana we can see, but we don't see what is going to happen after death. Now this is very, very important. People tend to think in the world in different terms regarding death and after death. Majority of them tend to think after death there is nothing. Therefore, we do not want to worry about it. After that, we will enter to a different stage of place where you have a kind of satisfaction, satisfactory life. After death, our problems are over, people tend to think. But people do not know really what is actually going to happen. Even though they tend to think after death all the problems are solved, it doesn't happen like that. Sometimes the death, the way that we die this time, gives rise to suffering in the next life. For example, some people are there, they commit suicide in order to free themselves from the problems that they are facing now. Due to that bad karma, they have to be born in unpleasurable planes in the next birth. Sometimes in the hell, then they have to suffer. In the animal plane, and especially in ghost planes, they have to suffer. Due to the bad action that they did, at the final stage of their life, by ending their lives by committing suicide, thinking that their problems are over. No, Dhamma friends, problems starts there. Therefore, don't think like that. After this life, there is another place where we have to be born. Only the persons who are not going to be born are the arahants. Arahants, or the ones who have completely, those who have completely eradicated all the defilements or taints, will not be born again. Those are the Supreme Buddhas, Pacceka Buddhas or silent Buddhas, the Arahants. All the others are born again and again and again. Therefore, these days, you cannot assure yourself as an Arahant or the Samma Sambuddha or the Pacceka Buddha. Even these days, there are no so-called, noble persons who have attained first stage of sainthood, at least, Sotapanna level. Even though they claim that we have attained first stage of sainthood, second stage of sainthood, Anagami level, like that, they have not attained, and sometimes some claim I am an arahant. Sometimes in YouTube we see so-called arahants, but don't get cheated, Dhamma friends. Those are not actually arahants. Those are cheating you, and sometimes they have got themselves misled by their mental hallucinations. Therefore, meritorious devotees, Dhamma friends, there is a dangerous situation that we have to face in the future, because the life will be ended up in the death. After death, what is going to happen? That is the problem that we have to face. Therefore, in order to at least to be born in a pleasurable plane, we have to arrange our life, condition our life appropriately, properly, with Dhamma, with merits, with the time that is available now. We know it is true that there are so many things, material things that you have to engage in. You have to have a family life, you have to engage in your business, and you have to engage in your employment. You have to look after your children, you have to have education, you have to have politics, you have to have fame, entertainment, and there are various things, and construction of the houses, and various things that you have. But all sorts of things are dependent upon your merits that you have accumulated in the past and the merits that you accumulate now. And especially your next birth will be decided on the life that you lead now, the way that you lead your life now. Therefore, don't do bad things. Don't do bad things. We sometimes do bad things, evil things with our words, verbally, and sometimes bodily, sometimes mentally. So these three areas are the major areas that from which we do bad things. What are the bad things that we do with words? Telling lies, musavada, carrying tales, pisunavaja, harsh speech, parusavaja, frivolous talk, sampappalapa. Then we have to refrain from these bad words. We have to refrain from these bad words. Then you can be satisfied that I have been leading a life free of bad words. Are you doing so? That is the thing that you have to consider, contemplate on, whether you are doing or you are leading that type of life. And secondly, bodily. Bodily, sometimes we do killing animals. We kill animals, and we steal things, and we engage in sexual misconduct. So we have to refrain from these three bad activities. Then your bodily actions are pure. They are not polluted. When you have pure actions with body, you do not want to be worry or bother about your next life, because you are okay. And thirdly, especially mentally, greed, hatred, delusion, these three bad thoughts come into our mind. They reign over our mind. They generate unwholesome things in our mind. Basing on those thoughts, we speak words and we do things by body, then accumulate demerits, unwholesome things, which lead to be born in unpleasurable planes after death, after demise of this life. Therefore, you have to be very, very careful about your behavior, Dhamma friends. So now the listeners or the followers of this Dhamma talk who are watching now must be very careful about your next birth. In other religions, they give kind of satisfaction to you by some kind of answers which are sometimes satisfactory answers for the time being, superficial answers. After death, you will not be born again, and sometimes you have to go to heaven or hell for eternity. Like that, there are things like that. The creation, various ideas are there. But those are not proper answers. The proper answer was given by the Supreme Buddha. After death, there will be reborn, basing on the actions that you have done, merits or demerits. Therefore, try to accumulate merits as much as possible within this life while you are engaging in other activities in your life, and then you can be happy of your next life. Therefore, Buddha says there are 5 factors that we have to fulfill. Shraddha, unshakable confidence towards the Supreme Buddha. Sila, virtue. Sutta, Dhamma, knowledge. Chaga, charity. Panya, wisdom. If we actually fulfill these 5 factors, you will be able to be born in a pleasurable plane, life after death. Therefore, first and foremost, we have to actually secure our next life. Then we will be able to comprehend the Dhamma at least in the next life, that is in a heavenly plane. If we get an opportunity to be born in a heavenly plane, that place is appropriate for us to comprehend Dhamma. But if you are born in a hell or animal plane, Preta world, Asura world, or Naga world, you will be unable to comprehend Dhamma for millions and trillions of years' time. But if you are able to be born in a pleasurable plane like heavenly plane, you are secured to a great extent. Therefore, what we have to do is to at least, to be born, we have to work. We have to have a plan to be born in a pleasurable plane like heaven, and try to comprehend Dhamma there and end this dangerous sansaric life. So may you be able to do so as early as possible. May the Noble Triple Gem bless with you all. Akasattha ca bummatta devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakhantu buddha sasanang. Akasattha ca bummatta devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakhantu buddha desanang. Akasattha ca bummatta devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakhantu tang sada. May you all be well and happy.